Alright guys, today is one of the most momentous days, I would say, in recent history. It is, I guess since people have already been mailing in ballots for quite a while now, but this is the end of voting. This is this is the day that you vote in person, but this is also the end of all voting in total for the President of the United States and a whole bunch of different offices. So, from just the local level to the state level, depending on where you are, and all sorts of things like that. So, I just got done with school for the day about a half hour ago, and I'm gonna go on a bike ride, see? One thing I forgot to mention is since the last time I've seen you guys, I was in a bike accident, so that's always fun. Yeah, in reality, I'll make this a separate video, but I lost one of my front teeth here. And my lip's still a little swollen, and it's like 6 weeks later. I don't know why. But anyway, so back to the point here. This is election day in the United States, and I'm not gonna express my political views on this channel ever, or at least not like in an obvious way. I mean, I'm sure I've slipped up a couple of times and said something that was a little, and I'm not gonna expose, but like, let's say maybe it was a little left-wing or a little right-wing or whatever, but in general, I avoid saying just outright what my views are. So, but what I'm focusing on right now is the fact that just how interested I am in election, because these are big things. This is determining who is going to run our country for the next 4 years. From it'll be January 20th, 2021 to January 20th, 2025. So 2025 is a long time from now. So it's a pretty, maybe it's only 4 years, but 4 years it's felt like a long time since 2016. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how this turns out today. Along with the results from the U.S. Senate, because if you get a majority there, that's always a good thing for your party, and and then if it's like 50-50 in the Senate, then the vice president would tie break, and then we'd have to revert back to, okay, who won the presidency. So it's gonna be weird. It's such a momentous day. There's something in the air today, and I don't know. Today feels heavy on the mind, on the brain, on the heart. It feels heavy, and I can honestly say I don't know how it's going to turn out. If I were to give you a prediction right now, I'd say Biden's probably going to win, just based on polling, but we also saw that in 2016, the polling got pretty screwed up, so I don't know. I really don't know who's going to win, but I'm just going to show you guys today how we're all, everything that we're doing to just watch, everything that I'm doing. My dad's gonna go to bed at like 10 tonight because he doesn't want to stay up late like me. And hey, that's fine. He's got a job he has to do, and I have school I have to go to. But who cares? I can be tired. I'm quarantined right now. I actually have COVID right now too. So that another thing I forgot to mention. But I'm gonna be up for a while, and I'm gonna take you guys through the whole process, everything that I'm doing, and just how I'll be watching this, and as the results come in, just for posterity, for, to remember tonight, to remember historically how everything went down. This is going to be in a history book someday, and I'll be able to say, look guys, I have a video on YouTube from this night. So I'm really looking forward to it, and looking forward to you guys coming along with me. Alright guys, I am about to leave for my bike ride tonight. And I'm just going to go one of my usual routes that I take, and I'm going to pass by the fire station where they do the voting for our precinct, also, you can see all the signs and stuff, and because there's a certain distance you have to be away from the polling place, and so everybody puts it at that exact distance, puts all their signs up. So, and it's just going to be, it's so weird. It feels just distinctly American to see all those people standing out there expressing their right to vote. I wish I could vote, honestly. Just because, I feel like I have informed myself about American politics and how things are run here, and I wish I could have a say, but, alas, I am only 15, and that's not how it works, so... So anyway, I'm going to take off for my bike ride now, and I'll show you that huge crowd. Yes, folks, this is the United States of America. This is our local polling place right here. Just like look at all those signs out here. It's like I said, you know, there's like a limit for like there's like there's a law that says you can't campaign with it within however many feet. I think it's like 50 feet of a polling place, or maybe 100 or something like that. And so of course, you know, you got all the people out here just like putting their last signs up right before the polling place. And it's sort of insane when you actually look at, I mean, just look at all these people, and a lot of these people are actually for local offices too. You know, school boards and township commissions, and or however, I forget what the official name is, and you know, county commissioners and all that good stuff. It's just insane, you know. I mean, just look at all those signs out there, and quite a few cars in the lot too. So just it's something that, it's like I said earlier, it's distinctly American, you know. It's distinctly American. I mean, just look at all those signs there. Distinctly American, to say the least. Well, as you can tell, here's yet another polling place. It's down a couple miles from the first one. Actually, it's on a different road, but it's, as the crow flies, it's a couple miles south. And you can see all the cars lined up here to vote. It's just sure, probably quite a long line, I'll tell you that much, huh? It's really kind of baffling, actually, because I come down this road so many times on my bike, just on my regular ride, and probably the entire time I'm on this road, which the section I go on is about 3 miles or so long, just in the time I'm on this road, I probably only pass somewhere between 5 and 10 cars, at max even, and these are all the people that are here right now. So it's like, feels like, you know, the biggest city in the county right now or something. I mean, obviously that's not true, but it's just feels weird, you know. Well, yet another election tradition here in the United States is political signs. You can see you got the Trump house right there, and the Biden house up here. So, but it is interesting how in the, you know, geez, sorry about this wind, in the American spirit, we're able to come together and forget about our neighbors' political differences. You know what is so weird? To see, so you know, I know it's only like 6:30, right? But I just love to see like the vote trickle in, even if there's not going to be an official call, obviously. And the first polls to close are Indiana and Kentucky at 6 p.m., which it's like 6:40 or so right now. So those are starting to come in. Keep in mind too that there are portions of both of those states that are in the central time zone, but we're still getting results from the parts that are in the eastern time zone. But it's so weird when you look at the, you know, because like you go on Google, right, and you look up election results for Kentucky, and you see Kanye West, independent, like 412 votes or something like that, and you're like, how the heck did Kanye West get on here? You're like, you look back like a couple of months even, and you're like, what kind of place? I mean, if you're coming from out of the country and you see that, you go, what kind of place is this? Like, it honestly, I mean, you gotta laugh at it. Okay, guys, so we are about, well, technically now we're an hour and a half after the first poll closings, and the very first state to come in tonight was Kentucky, and Kentucky went for Donald Trump, so that's 8 in the Trump column. And then after that, we had 3 from Vermont, which goes to Vice President Biden. And so that's 8-3. And then just a minute ago, they called West Virginia for the president as well. And I believe West Virginia is like 6, so that ought to make like 14 or something like that. So a lot of these states that are coming in early here are states that you could almost just mark down on the map to begin with, because they're so obviously partisan one way or the other, how it's going to go. But just to make things official, I gotta wait, you know. They also have called a Senate seat in Virginia, and I believe in West Virginia too. So they got both the Virginias in. And so let me also take a minute to talk a little bit about some of our local races we have here. One that's near and dear to my heart is our Airport Community Schools Board of Education election. We have 2 people up for re-election. We have actually technically we have 3, but they're on separate ballots. Or not separate ballots, separate like elections. My dad is one of them. He is running unopposed, that's the best way to be running. You have no idea how much I stressed out about, I don't want him to have an opponent, like back when the filing deadline was coming up. And so I just thank God every day that that there's nobody against him, and he'll at least get another 2 years. He's running in a special election basically to fill the last 2 years of a vacant term. And then we have two of my dad's friends, because, I mean, small town, so everybody on the board is really friends. And my dad's, friends, Will Lang and Janice Doderline, they're running for re-election this year. There are 3 people in total in that race, including them. So the worst that could happen for them is one of them gets unseated. I don't really see that happening. But we also didn't expect my dad to lose in 2018. He lost by a narrow 7 votes, so that was pretty close. So everybody's got the jitters after that, but we don't think we're all just having faith that things are going to work out in their favor tonight. And so here in the state of Michigan, Michigan is considered a swing state. For those of you not familiar with American politics, which in many cases includes Americans, because who wants to get caught up in all that crap? But Michigan is likely going for Biden, I think, because that's what the polls have shown. That's generally how Michigan only went for Trump by about 10,000 votes in 2016. So it would be very unlikely, I think, that he would get it in 2020. We also have one of our 2 United States Senate seats up. That is currently occupied by Senator Gary Peters. He's a Democrat, and he's running against John James, a Republican. John James actually ran against Debbie Stabenow, the other U.S. Senator from Michigan, in 2018. He lost that by about 6 points, which for a Republican in Michigan for a Senate seat, that's actually really good. So he gave it another shot this year, and we'll have to see how that turns out. Generally, that seat tends to, when it comes to Senate seats, Michigan tends to lean more blue, but we'll see. I mean, anything could happen. Because it's like I take the same approach to election night. I don't say that anything's impossible until it has been deemed to be, this is not going to happen, But we are in, Michigan has 14 congressional districts, the constitutionally allowed 1, plus 13 other districts, just based on population. And we are in Michigan's 7th district, currently represented by Tim Walberg, a Republican. And our district is generally, if you look at the 270 to win map, it is considered a likely Republican district. So he's probably going to win re-election unless something goes drastically wrong for him. So that's not really too much to worry about for him there. And that's about it. So a number of other races around the country that I'm really keeping a close eye on, but really the ones that really matter aren't going to come in until later on. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be a long night. Alright guys, I'm sorry it's been so long since I've updated you last. It is now 10:43 p.m. And so we've had some significant developments. And I still think Biden's going to end up winning. That's my projection. But things don't look as drastically horrible for Donald Trump as I thought they actually could go, just by looking at polls and stuff. They lied to us. No, they didn't. It's just, but things are going better, at least, for the president. So this is the Electoral College map right now. These are the states that I filled in, and so these are the ones that they have called definitively for one candidate or the other. And there's still a lot of votes to come in, and it's going to be an interesting night. And here's the U.S. Senate. Now, the U.S. Senate right now, as things stand, Democrats have 46 seats, I believe, and Republicans have 38. However, if you actually look at the remaining seats if you actually look at the remaining seats yet to be called, they mostly favor Republicans, and that's where they're going to make up the gap. And that's why, even if right now you might say, oh, the Senate doesn't look competitive at all. I mean, Democrats have, 46, 47. Well, when you actually look at it, right, Georgia, both of these 2 seats, the special election and the regular, are favoring the Republicans. These 2 are also favoring the Republicans. They just haven't called it. Let's see. Kansas is favoring the Republican. And Idaho is favoring the Republican, and probably Montana, too. And so is Alaska. So you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 8 right there. And that would bring the Republicans from 38 38 up to 46. Now the question from there is, or maybe I had them, maybe I haven't updated it yet. I think that's right though. Yeah, if it's 38. So anyway, so I think so. From there, what Republicans would need to do to get a majority, or close to a majority, I guess, would be pick up North Carolina and Iowa at least. I feel like you know what? Maybe I counted them wrong or something, because I feel like that still doesn't add up. Because at the rate that we look like we're going here, it looks like things are going to be about evenly split. So let me go check up on that real quick, and I'll let you guys know. Before I do that, though, I will also give you guys a little bit of an update on the way that things are looking state by state in the presidential race. Now, I already showed you the map of how things are, of the states that have been called, right? So right now, and a lot of these, they call it the Sun Belt. Those states are expected to go for. Expected to go. I guess not. They're not going to go very long tonight. Like, probably we'll know who's probably going to win there tonight. Now Florida, which I actually thought that was going to be pretty competitive. It still is. But Florida, Donald Trump is currently leading by 3.5 points in the state, and that's a state that, with the Republican governor Ron DeSantis. It doesn't. They don't really. The requirements for mail-in voting. Mail-in voting. How exactly do you do that? The requirements for mail-in voting are a lot stricter than other states. So that's one that I could see Trump actually retaining that lead in. Georgia as well. Georgia was one that I thought was actually going to be pretty competitive. Donald Trump is up by 12 points there, so that's pretty good for him on election night. From his perspective, North Carolina is a dead heat right now. Currently, the president is up by 1.2 percentage points, but North Carolina also has a Democratic governor, so I'm not entirely sure if in a state like that. Because generally, if you kind of look at the patterns, it's generally been Democratic governors that are sort of, that have been expanding the mail-in voting. So North Carolina, I'm not sure. I could see Trump holding on to the edge there, but I'm not sure. I really don't know that for sure. Currently, Wisconsin. Now we're gonna jump up to. Well, actually, before we do that, let's look at Arizona. Now Arizona. Things are still, the polls didn't close that long ago there. So Arizona is still very much, it's very fluid. But right now, Biden has a lead there of, what would that be? That's about 8.7 points. So I could maybe see him winning Arizona. It depends though. Arizona I don't believe they count mail-in ballots for a while. But it does look like they're still counting things there, and for the most part, what they're counting is probably going to end up favoring the president. I don't know though. Arizona, I could really see. I think Arizona's going to go to Biden. And let's see. I'll zoom out here. So right now, let's take a look at Wisconsin. Now these states in the north here, in the Midwest, are ones where they don't really start counting mail-in votes. They don't start counting those until I believe like later in the day, like today or tomorrow, and those are the ones that we're gonna have to wait a while. We're gonna be waiting quite a while for those to come in. Right now in Wisconsin, the president has a 4.1% lead, which is, when you still consider all the mail-in votes that have to come in, that's not that good for him. Michigan, right here, is that is my home state right here. The president is currently up by 11.9 points, but once again, there's still a lot of mail-in stuff to come in. So it's going to be interesting. And in Pennsylvania, the president is up. Let's see, they just updated it a little bit ago. In Pennsylvania, the president is up by 12.1 points. So That's going to be an interesting one. Pennsylvania and Michigan, I think, are going to be the ones that we're going to be waiting a while on, and they're going to be a very, very close result. I could see Donald Trump, if things are going to be close enough, I think, either way, that if Donald Trump wins, there will probably be a big recount, but I don't think it would change things really. Because I mean, very rarely are states that close, and generally when it comes to like lawsuits, as far as like mail-in ballots go, like if Trump is in the lead and he doesn't and he doesn't want to lose that lead, like let's say he launched a lawsuit against against some practice that one of the three Rust Belt states, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin are using, because he's frequently criticized that. About, I forget exactly what it's about, but there are certain things about, like, they're letting votes come in after the deadline or something like that, or at least that's what he's saying. And so I think he could successfully, well, not successfully, but if he wins and he's up there, I think he could successfully, with the courts most likely in his favor, because conservatives have a 6-3 majority on the court. So if it did get to the Supreme Court, I would imagine they would probably rule in his favor in that case. Let's see. Donald Trump's lead just narrowed in Pennsylvania to, looks like 11.9. So that's only 0.2 percentage points. But that's not that bad for him. Let's see. But I think if Biden... If Biden wins one of those states by a little bit, get your popcorn out, guys. It's gonna be quite a long time. Lawsuits galore. I don't think Trump would be in a position really to necessarily win those lawsuits. Well, I mean, I guess he could, but I don't think that the difference that whatever he's contesting would make would be such a difference that it would flip one of those states in his favor. I know that all sounded really complicated, but let me take a look back here. Looks like nothing's really changed as far as which way any state's leaning. Texas is surprisingly close. Texas is a pretty, I would say it's a fairly deep red state, and Donald Trump is only leading by 3.9 there, that's not good news for him, especially when they're talking about a potential, like, a Texas flip. I don't think Texas is going to flip for the Democrats, or to the Democrats, I should say. It's too rooted in the GOP there. I don't see it happening. But I think Trump will end up holding on there. Iowa, let's see. Joe Biden is leading by... Iowa's still coming in. I'm not even going to look at Iowa at this point. Technically, Joe Biden is leading by, like, double digits right there. But that doesn't really mean anything. Iowa's still counting things. And that's about all I have. Let me take a look at New Hampshire. New Hampshire, Joe Biden is up by, looks like 8.5, I think. Yeah. And so that's, surprisingly, Trump is actually up in Maine right now. All right, guys, look, here's the deal. We've got a very close race here. When I say close, I mean I really mean close. So take a look at this map. So I would imagine Trump's going to win Alaska. Biden's already winning Hawaii. So, and as it looks right now, Biden is winning Arizona and he's winning Nevada. Trump is probably, I think, going to end up winning Georgia and North Carolina. Now, the issue here is I think Trump may have enough of a lead in Pennsylvania to win that. However, he did lose one congressional district here in Nebraska, because Nebraska splits up their electoral votes by congressional district. And that the issue with that, see, if Trump loses, if Biden wins Nevada and Arizona, and even if Trump wins Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, that would like let's say that he won like one congressional district in Maine here. That would only get him. That would make it 270 to 268 for Joe Biden. So he would need, if he cannot win Arizona, if he wins Arizona, it's irrelevant as long as he wins one of these three. But if he doesn't win Arizona and he truly does lose the one congressional district, or I guess it would be Nebraska's second congressional district, if he does lose that and he loses Arizona and Nevada, but he wins Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania, that would still not put him over the top. He would need either Michigan or Pennsylvania. Or not Pennsylvania, that's Wisconsin. So, and I think Biden's going to end up winning 3 out of the 4 votes for Maine, at least. Possibly also 4. So, it's going to be a close race, and the thing about these 3 states is that they do not start... we're really not going to know much about how well... how the mail-in stuff is affecting things until the votes start to come in tomorrow. So, it's going to be a long time. It's going to be a long wait. And we don't have a winner tonight. And so that's what the map there currently looks like. The Senate is looking a little bit more clear. I think there's going to end up being a Republican majority, if you ask me. The Republicans won Iowa. That was a toss-up. They won not Minnesota, Montana, which wasn't really a toss-up, but it was certainly one that they could have lost. What else did they win? I guess that's it for the really decisive ones. But they're ahead in North Carolina right now. They're ahead in the Maine, you're not Maine like the state, but in the regularly scheduled election for the Senate seat in Georgia, and then there's a runoff election scheduled for the special election in Georgia. But the Republicans are behind in Arizona, and I think they're going to win. They're going to win in Alaska. So, let's say the Republican Party ends up winning. So if the Republican Party does end up winning both Senate seats in Georgia, all they would need is all they would need at that point is either just one of the for a majority, which is 51 seats. They would need only one of Arizona, North Carolina, or Maine, or I guess theoretically Michigan, but I don't really see that going for the Republicans. So I guess it's all in the hands at this point of Arizona, North Carolina, and Maine. All the Republican Party has to do is win one of those seats, most likely, as long as they can hold on to both in Georgia, and that will get them a Senate majority even if Biden wins. So, it's looking good for Republicans in the Senate. At the presidential level, not so much. It's not looking bad. It's also not looking good. There's still a lot of votes to come in Michigan, and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania. Trump's up by about 12.5, I think, in Pennsylvania right now, but he could, as stuff starts to come in, if it tightens in the in-person vote tonight, that could set him up for to really make it a close contest when the mail-in votes come in or start getting counted tomorrow. So, gonna be close. I cannot justify, though, staying up any later, so I'm gonna go to bed, and I'll keep you guys updated in the morning. So, thanks for bearing with me, and I'll see you guys in the morning. All right, guys. So it is actually a brand new day now. Well, not brand new. This day is almost over. It's like 11 p.m. on November 4th. So this is more than 24 hours after I first started on election duty. And so here's the rundown of the situation. Republicans look poised to take the U.S. Senate because, see, what happened here, and I was surprised, the incumbent Susan Collins won in Maine pretty comfortably, actually. And so these are all the seats right now. If everything were to stay exactly where it is right now, I believe, it would end up with like 49 seats, I think. So to get 50, which would be, if Biden ends up winning, 50 would not be enough for majority because the vice president gets the tie break. But if President Trump wins, then that would be enough for majority. So basically, the Republicans are gonna. Oh, you know what? I'm forgetting Alaska. So when you add in Alaska here, if they win all three of these, they'd get 52. If they win two of these three, then they'd get 51. And if they only win one of them, then they'd get 50. So right now, the incumbent Tom Tillis in North Carolina seems to be ahead. Last time I checked, that could be outdated though. And I don't know if David Perdue is going to go to a runoff. Either way, I think the Republican candidates are going to win both seats in Georgia, even in a runoff. And if David Perdue's seat doesn't go to a runoff, then he's going to end up winning it anyway, by the looks of it. So it's really a very, very narrow path for Democrats for majority. They could, if the Democrats won one of the, like let's say they won this Georgia seat in a runoff, and they ended up winning North Carolina, then that would get them to 50, and if Biden wins, that would get them their tiebreak, I believe. Don't quote me on this, guys. It's late, and I'm not really good at doing the math here. So that's the thing. All three of these are trending Republican, and that's the issue for the Democrats right now. So it's looking like the Senate's going to go for the GOP. And as you can see, I colored in Michigan blue. That's another local race here. So here's the presidential level right now. Last night they called Arizona for Biden. I don't know why they did that because it was really a premature move. So right now, here's how things stand, and I'll just give you the quick rundown. So because they're still counting mail-in ballots in Arizona, and they seem to be going for Trump in proportions that generally in other states that with mail-in ballots like that, they don't seem to be going in those same proportions. And it's in Maricopa County, I think, in Arizona. So let's say Arizona doesn't go for Trump. And so since Biden has already won one congressional district in Nebraska, if Arizona goes for Joe Biden, Trump would need to sweep the table. Let's just assume for all intents and purposes he gets Alaska, because generally that's how that ends up going. Trump would need, if he loses Arizona, he would need Nebraska, Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is getting very close. And I don't know. That could be, if Trump loses Pennsylvania, that's going to be the election right there. But let's say Trump wins Arizona. Then he would, let's see, if he wins Arizona, then he could also lose Nevada, but he would need all three of these. And there's really no, if he wins Arizona, there is no other state that he could lose out of, other than Nevada, out of these four, and still win. So it's getting to be a very narrow path for President Trump. Nevertheless, a path he could certainly take, but we're just going to have to watch as things come in, and it's going to be a long night. Going to be not a long night, but it's still going to be a while. I'm not staying up nearly as late tonight. I'm going to bed right after this. It is 11:08, and so I will be in bed by 11:20 tonight. So get my solid 8 hours of sleep before I have to get up in the morning, and things will work out for me because nothing substantial is really gonna change in the next hour or the hour after that. So it's just gonna be the waiting game at this point. So we'll see how things go, and I'll keep you guys updated in the morning. Also, a couple of local updates. We are 3 for 3 for people with yard signs in our, right outside our house. Troy Goodenough, the guy we had a sign for in our yard, he won the race for sheriff in Monroe County. And my dad's two board friends, Will Lang and Janice Doderline, they both kept their seats, so that's good. We're very lucky to have them on there. They're two very just great individuals to have on there, and they really contribute a lot to the discussion for, because this is my school district, and of course with my dad on the board, that races like that, I like to keep an eye on them, so glad to see them back. And oh yeah, shocker, my dad won in his unopposed race. No way. But anyway, but yeah, so he'll be on the school board for 2 more years. We knew that to begin with. Anyway, so that's all from me for tonight, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Give you a little update, and who knows? I could have a definite winner when I wake up tomorrow morning. I could. So see you guys tomorrow. All right, guys. So here we are, about 23 hours later, and so here's the update. Things have been going very, very, very slowly today. In fact, no states whatsoever have been called today. Who knows? They could be called after I go to bed, because I'm going to go to bed in just a little bit here. But here's an update for you. So Nevada finally started counting their votes today, and they're about, I think, 85% in now. And they have not shifted very much. Biden has a 0.9% lead there, and they have not shifted much towards Trump. Or in fact, they haven't shifted at all really towards Trump since they've started coming in. So I would expect that Biden's going to hold on to a lead, albeit pretty slim there. Pennsylvania, the president is only up by 0.6%, and only 90% of precincts are reporting. And everything we've seen is that the mail-in votes that are coming in overwhelmingly favor Biden. So if things go at the rate they're going, the president's going to lose Pennsylvania, which had previously, for the last 48 hours, been in his column, even when Michigan and Wisconsin started going blue. North Carolina, the president has, I believe, a 1.4% lead there, and by the time all the ballots are counted, he should be able to maintain a lead there. It's going to go down, but he'll be able to hold on to North Carolina. And right now, things are exactly tied in Georgia. And the last time I checked, things are probably still coming in, but last time I checked, Donald Trump is only up by less than 2,000 votes in Georgia, a state with like millions of people. So if Donald Trump loses Georgia, which there's still about 1% of the precincts left to report. There's still stuff coming in, but it's looking like the president is going to narrowly lose Georgia. And if he loses Georgia, and even he seems to be coming back a little bit in Arizona, a state that was already called. But even if he does win Arizona, at the rate that everything else is going, at the rate that these votes are coming in crucial states that he would need, even if he got Arizona, Donald Trump is not going to win this election, basically. So I would say right now, my ultimate prediction for when I wake up in the morning is that we will have a race that is pretty much 100% going to go to Vice President Biden. So nothing's officially been called yet. No states have actually been called. Things are still too close to call. But that's about it. Both of the Georgia Senate races are going to a runoff now because in the main one, nobody got 50%. Slightly under that for David Perdue. And Alaska's still counting. They're not going to call that one. And North Carolina, by the time all of the mail-in ballots come in North Carolina, Tom Tillis is probably still going to have an advantage there. So he'll probably hold on to that one. But the question is, will will the Republican candidates be able to hold on in both Georgia races in the runoff election on January 5th? The answer to that is probably in both cases, but they're going to need to win one of those to get 51, which I think is something that they can do. So that's where we stand right now, and I will update you guys in the morning. So so long from tonight here in Michigan, and see you tomorrow.